other heroes that could have filled that role for team fights, but still offered wave clear potential if they feel they lack out on it. But I mean, either way, heading into the second draft now, they have definitely a chance to draft something maybe a bit more cohesive and coordinated. So,
well,
yeah,
regardless of that fact,
I wouldn't go for conventional with Nomia, but
sure, yeah. Well, conventional for them. Let's go ahead and do it. Cursed Hollow here, as Aria will be the first ban. Nomia thinking about their ban. Last game, we did see them ban out.
Okay, same opener from what I understand.
There we go.
Like the Freedom banning the Oriole again, I think it kind of just comes down to they maybe felt like it was too hard to deal with, and they just don't want to deal with it until tonight. They can go back to their hotel room, analyze what they need to do different in the future, and come back more prepared. They go with the Uther first pick. I think it's very strong. Leaves the draft relatively open-ended.
And Uther is just a fantastic hero, especially since you can play both ways. We've seen, for example, the Divine Storm, and if you have to lock down a melee assassin, I mean, you know firsthand how strong Uther can be against Genji, for example.
Oh yeah, so the one game versus GFE in particular comes to mind.
Which map was that? I think it
was Cursed Hollow, yeah. I'm having a couple flashbacks here now, Calder. It was the bottom lane Curse, and you see Akaface was at 5% HP, so I tried to go for a reset and instantly died.
Yeah, Akaface, he's a master beta. That was wonderful.
Okay, Tassadar will be the next pickup here for Nomia, possibly. Let's see if they're going to go into it. They've done it the last couple of games. Instead, though, they're switching it up. Stitches into Greymane. Tassadar's been left open.
You know, I feel like that was a deny pick more than anything else. Theoretically, Cursed Hollow, you don't see a lot of value out of Cocktail build. So I wonder if we could see a Cassia from Team Freedom. But you definitely don't need to pick it here, right? You can save it for later in the draft.
I would kind of enjoy it if Nomia would actually turn Team Freedom's comp around against them now that they have the Stitches already, drop the Diva as well. So that would be really, really funny. Freedom, on the other hand, I mean, with Uther, do you think that we're going to see them play, for example, in the Lily composition, as we've been talking about that a whole lot this day?
I definitely think there's a high possibility of that. I think they had a good showing on Dahaka last game. We could see them go into something like Dahaka and Nubarak and play a slightly more standard game, but I definitely think that Illidan has a pretty good matchup into both Stitches and Greymane. He's very good on this map due to being able to split push for the early tributes. I don't honestly know what I'd like more, but I could see Dahaka or Illidan being useful here.
Is Abathur something that we've seen from Team Freedom in the past? Well, there it is, actually. Abathur and Illidan.
I do like this a lot.
I mean, I'm already a Freedom fan. I see money picks I like, but this is definitely putting the cherry on top of the cake right now. And Abathur Illidan composition, old school, I love it. A lot of aggression coming out of Freedom, and curious how Nomia reacts to this.
I'm really impressed with Freedom's draft adjustments from the first set of the day. My criticism of Freedom, now that I've had some time to think about the expert set, was that in the draft it seemed like the game plan they went with didn't really feel like natural and organic, and now they're being more reactive, and I really do like that.
They have a plan set forward, and it's very, very obvious, especially with this pickup that they have set up. Now, Nomia will have to think about possible bans they want to get rid of. Last time they did ban out Li Ming. Not really a major case for it here, but we'll see what they're going to move into. As Arthas is already being highlighted, great against Illidan, and Nomia is actually the one deciding to ban it out, though.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I feel a bit surprising, because with Illidan you usually try to dive in deep. Of course, side soak and then going in with a hunt is also an aspect, but an Nubarak would be a hero that I would be more worried about. First of all, because of the dynamic that you explained earlier already, Glorang, with Gorge coming in and then a Cocoon coming out, but also since Illidan and Nubarak have great synergy when they are trying to dive in deep into the backline and initiate a battle.
It does seem odd to me that Arthas is the hero Nomia opts to ban here. And I think overall, Team Freedom identified that Nomia picking Stitches early knows that they're not going to be able to pick the Arthas per se, so Illidan's not going to have that bad matchup. And Freedom identifying that opts to go in with Abathur Illidan instead of the Dahaka strategy. So I don't necessarily like the Arthas ban too much. Task Tracer is still available, so it does make sense for them to ban the Tracer. They're okay. They're saying with the Tracer ban, hey, if you want Tassadar, go ahead, pick it. We're comfortable with that. We just don't want you to have Task Tracer.
Well, we'll see what Nomia moves into. I was wondering if they wanted to move into Sonya with the Arthas ban, but even then, that wouldn't be too bad of a matchup for them. Sonya to help out with that Illidan coming in, so that's what I was trying to go down that path, but I feel like the Arthas ban is still kind of odd to me.
Yeah, I think that Sonya would be a pretty good pickup here, but they definitely need to grab a global of some sort. Oh, okay. What they opt in for is sort of like what we saw. Aside from the Vikings not existing here, we're going to see like an early game siege-oriented comp from Nomia.
I was more expecting a Dehaka on their side, to be quite honest, especially against Abathur, to put a bit more pressure on him.
Sure.
Brightwing, of course, offers you a global, but it's not a global that can jump onto an empty lane, so you don't have the same pressure against the Slug.
Yeah, when it comes to like Abathur in general, I feel like Brightwing doesn't pressure anywhere close to as hard as Dehaka would.
Yeah, exactly. So now, if the map opens up, Freedom has really good chances of just side-soaking with Abathur and being way far more out on the map as long as they have the vision there. So right now, I'm really liking what Freedom has.
Yeah, likewise. I think any Illidan composition in general thrives when they have a lot of room to chase. And from Freedom's perspective, they're going to be like, okay, look, you can push with Zarya Greymane. We're just going to push the other side of the map and open up the map so that in future team fights, we're going to have a place to run you down.
It's a little bit of a wild card, but is there any opportunity for Vikings here?
From Nomia?
Yep.
Ooh. Yes, there is.
Now that I think about
God.
Excellent insight there, Killers.
Thank you.
But I don't think I like it.
I don't
It's a
love
bit
it.
of a weird comp for it, I think.
Ooh, the Cassia. That's actually something particularly interesting. It's good against Zarya and Greymane.
I mean, talk about Vikings versus Abathur. There is a snowball potential that can happen. Vikings with the pressure on there, if they aren't punished well enough, they can get you early game advantages and push heavily into level 10, which Abathur can have a hard time fighting against.
I mean, what you're trying to do with this usually, it's actually going to become really interesting, because normally when you're running a setup, that one that Nomia runs, your idea is that you have a strong foreman and you move in with that. So what they're running with this foreman, having the Zarya together with Greymane, they're really good at taking down structures. And as long as Zarya with shields and Brightwing can keep them at a decent level, they should win those fights. So that can really snowball in their direction, especially with Abathur usually having a bit of a weaker early game. It all comes down to when Illidan can really start getting kills for them. Once the momentum of Nomia is stopped, they're in trouble. If they are strong enough to build it up at the start and really get those structures down with Greymane being shielded, I think they can gain a huge level. So for me, it really comes down, do they lose a hero early on, yes or no?
At this point as well, I think it's important that fatigue is also a little bit of an issue when it comes to today. And when we think about where these teams have come. It's getting late. The Australians have come from Australia not so long ago, but Team Freedom has been here for a while. It's not like they flew in a few days ago from America. They've been here for a week and a bit. So that could play a factor here as well. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've been here now for more than 12 hours, I think. A lot of the players have, of course, warmed up. As far as I know, they still have problems with a bit of their gear. Fat94 does not have his gear here, so he plays on a different keyboard as well. It's not necessarily that him playing on a different keyboard all of a sudden makes them lose the game, but this constant, do I get my gear? Hey, did you guys find it? When can I expect it? Like this entire stress around this tournament that just like takes up a lot of the thought, or like a lot of your time, and it adds extra stress to everything else that's happening. So I think it's absolutely fair to say that the late hour here in Kiev plays a role with what we see.
Regardless, the results will be the results no matter what here as we go into our second game. So without further ado, let's head over for game number 2 as Nomia looks to fight for their tournament life here against Team Freedom.
Jet lag is a hell of a drug when it makes you draft things like TLV. I don't know how you feel about that one, though, Dread, but I'm thinking probably not the best option.
I mean, I can totally respect the direction Nomia is going with this type of draft. I mean, we've seen other teams already pick it throughout this tournament. It is not a one-of-a-kind. We've never seen this before. It's just we already saw them have that, here's your four-man, here's your split pusher. Didn't look too hot. Granted, I do think this is a better, more refined version than we saw in Sky Temple, and it, in fact, is a far better map for that play style. I just am not sold yet, but I'm ready to be proven wrong here.
Right, I mean, the 4 picks leading into the TLV don't really sort of spring to mind as we're going to body lane, we're going to smash you, and we're going to be able to take picks in that regard. Granted, they had the pick potential with the Stitches, but much as what the analyst was saying, feels more like a denial towards what Team Freedom being running and running successfully.
Especially, yeah, at the top half of the draft with that Stitches Greymane rotation that they had. But here they are. In the blue is your North American representative here. 1 game away from sending Nomia home. It's going to be Team Freedom. We've got Collusion on Uther, Zugrug on Murden, Illidan played by Cure, Cassia is going to be Dansky, and Nasmus is the Abathur.
And on the right-hand side, the boys from Down Under, one shot and one opportunity to bring this one back for the full best of 3. Arcana on TLV, Vanilla playing Brightwing, John on Greyman, Robodobo on Stitches, and Fat94 looking to do work on Zarya.
The main goal here is obviously going to be an absurd amount of pressure into the lanes, Vikings soaking onto the side. And, you know, it plays a bit into the weaknesses of Team Freedom's compositions. Traditionally, Abathur does suffer with heavy sieging compositions and heavy rotations on a map like Cursed Hollow, so I expect Nomia to be able to take off pretty heavily with the experience for the first while, and then as the team fighting phase comes into play, that's where Freedom may be able to redeem themselves in the experience department.
I can tell you look a little bit on tilt already with the fact that they've gone for the TLV in a 3-man split as opposed to the 2-1. I mean, we see this as a pick, we see that as well, and you're thinking, roll the clip, boys.
Do you actually listen to every time I talk about TLV? Because I talk about that split a lot.
I had to do a bit of preparation leading into this one, man, of course.
All right, all right. Dansky, man, he got roped right in there by Robodoba. Lucky he's going to be able to make it out. But yeah, why the Viking, you know, into that lane specifically? I will say, and under these circumstances, it makes a bit more sense.
Sure.
So if your intention is to get the 4 completely, you would then expect possibly to send the, you know, Viking elsewhere. But oh man, look at that, another hook on the Dansky. Do they have the pick here?
They're just looking to show Team Freedom what's up, saying, well, we do have Big Olaf here. He's not a mascot. He can do things, and right now he's looking to punch on.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's with the intent beyond the fort, then you would expect the rotation, you know, front wall to front wall to front wall. You're never going to spend enough time in a lane to where you want to waste your Vikings time to split push and soak elsewhere. But the fact that we do see Nomia committing the fort, suddenly I agree with your first statement. The 2-1 split seems to be the most sense here. But for now, it is just Freedom trying to do their best to deal with this pressure Nomia has been able to achieve. And, you know, Nomia's progress is formidable here so far. Nice storm ball from Zugrug, but it's just trying to stop the bleeding as Illidan's causing havoc there on bottom, actually even outpacing that of Nomia.
So far, so good for both teams here. Is Illidan, as you mentioned, already getting a lot of value in the bot lane, but Nomia looking to try and tie things up, even it out by claiming the top lane, which they do. Fault now has gone down, and it feels a lot the same as what we saw in the GFE series, where it was a case of rushing down for the keeps. Alas, not a 2-minute keep, but still, all about that split push potential.
Yeah, it's I can respect the direction Nomia is going with this, and they're trying to end the game very quickly by concentrating through to the top lane. And again, their lack of cycling to other aspects of the map. But I wonder if they have the ability to identify that small, very difficult opportunity to get the boss, to make that game end very quickly. Because Cursed Hollow is a map that you don't always get to choose, other than a late game absolute wipe, when you want to end the game. You're very, I don't know, the map lets you decide, or like lets you win the game rather than the other way around, because you're dependent on the curses, onto the bosses themselves. But for now, 3 minutes in, they've got an entire keep front wall.
Nomia are still pushing on here with the golems denied away from Team Freedom, but Illidan has other ideas. He's gone for the tribute cap. They've gone for the hook, looking for the peel, looking for the potential to find first blood in this game. Still 3 minutes into this one. No blood spilled as they back away.
Curious here looking to get the fight, though. Now trying to abuse the lack of team fight for Nomia to get the chase in. Zarya does not look like she's going to be making out. How many members does Nomia lose? Because Cure is an absolute monster right there. The teleport on out is going to be onto the Vikings, so Vanilla is away, but Brightwing really is the only one to stand now for Nomia, and that is the downside to Vikings. We know that their team fight phase, even post-10, is not necessarily the greatest. It's not until about the 16, 17, 20 marks do they actually become team fighting monsters.
Yeah, Punish there with the extended fight really working in favor, especially for Cure on Illidan. But Abathur, amongst all things considered, he was distracted with that skirmish. Does get picked off in the mid lane at the same time, so they try to even things out again. Next tribute does spawn in that top right side, which means, given the algorithm, the next one will be spawning in that bottom left-hand side.
That's going to be really nice for Freedom to further their opportunities to pick up the curse. Boss looks like it is started, though, for Nomia. The question is, does Freedom identify the situation? They very quickly do, realizing, you know, there's only some Vikings, little man, onto the map. There's about 3 places you can be if you aren't on top of the tribute. Other boss, our boss, and it's not too hard to be able to predict that one, but nice rotations once again for Freedom. And they've done a really amazing job of stopping the experience in the snowball that we saw with this composition in other games we've had here at the Western Clash.
Once again, Nomia looking for the rotation. They had the Giants in their hands. They are pushing on towards this bottom fault now. Q did pick up the tribute for the second time. They had the Arcana on TLV looking to try and distract that for as long as he could with Eric, but with the Mule being picked up here by Abathur, it's all about trying to deny and sort of regain the value that Nomia found.
There's that level disadvantage here, and this is exactly what I was trying to bring up at the beginning of the game. We expect, because of that four-man being so easy at pressuring front walls, that this is understandable into an Abathur composition. It's, can Nomia further this lead continuously at the same rate, or even maybe a greater one that they have for the first 5 minutes of this game, all the way through, probably up until the 16 tier is going to be the safest direction for them to be able to, you know, turn the game and make sure that they have a big enough lead that the Abathur and the Illidan do not become a problem due to the weaker mid-game team fighting of the Vikings.
What else I was going to say, if you look at Nomia, what they've drafted and what they've actually chosen as their ultimate choices with the likes of Gorge and even Emerald Wind, they're looking to try and shut down Cure on this Illidan. A lot of resources pumped into him, but as you mentioned, as the mid to late game really comes to full fruition, it's going to be an issue, and I don't think that's going to be enough.
Nomia here. Looks like they want to try and abuse the fact that they took down that top fort and push with this boss. Best case scenario is going to be able to get a keep. 10 still barely out of reach here for Freedom. But you know that Cure is looking to be able to pick that up and will join in to try and take this fight elsewhere. But Arcane are being a pest there on top of the tribute, as every Vikings player should be.
Yeah, two Vikings looking to try and lock them up as much as possible. There goes the Gorge, and the Hunt comes in straight away, looking for the fight. The Divine Shield is there. They are wanting to find this kill. They are wanting to get a skirmish, a deja vu moment, if you will. Nazmez with the clone does get taken out. They are looking to still push on with this boss, which is taking down that keep quite considerably. Cure was low.
But the bot, remember, there's a mule on the map. This keep has to fall. Everybody on the side of Team Freedom committing everything to get that boss. They do, and there is going to be a nice little robot to restore that HP back on. Early game end potential a miss here now for Nomia with that failed attempt at the keep. So much so I almost would have rather see them just honestly commit everything, sacrifice everyone, because this mule is really going to hurt them now. They just sacrificed all their experience and didn't get the one thing that might be able to stop Abathur and Illidan from having a heyday here in the mid game.
100%. All the momentum leading up to that one moment was unraveled in a heartbeat right there. But once again, looking for the fight. The expulsion zone is on the camp. It's not going to be enough to stop Team Freedom denying it from them, as they do back away once again, looking for that level 13, primarily for Nomia.
When on the bosses, it's near even spawn time, but we still got about 3 minutes before those are going to come into play. So post-curse, we got a Gorge up here, though. Nice stun. Robodoba getting body blocked to death. Dansky goes down.
Deleted.
The damage into Cassio was ridiculous there from Nomia. And now, not only do they have the man up, they can set the tributes to the two, curse point onto both sides. This is looking good. That was very much what Nomia needed to remain in control of this game.
Such a good sense of opportunity to pick that fight, knowing you have level 13 on the horizon as well, knowing that the tribute is there too. But let's not forget, the Mule is doing work on that keep. It was down to a quarter, now to a half, looking to go full health with this one. But Nomia said, we don't care about that. We want to exploit this map fully, systematically take every structure on the map and just force you to play turtle mode.
That's exactly what their composition is built to do. And a lot of the question is really just, is it enough fast enough? That the fact that that fort still stood here to the 8-minute mark, they keep failing up towards top, and now it's a 1-level deficit. I was hoping that we would see them at that kind of 2-level lead by the 16, 16 into 14, and I don't think that is going to be a reasonable window. Freedom, most likely, the curse is going to spawn. Curse point for both sides. It's going to be a 13 and a 13, and suddenly Nomia is going to have an absurdly difficult question if this pick does not actually happen.
Looking for it. They're going to go into the back line right away. Ufa forced to pop Divine Shield on himself. Never a good opportunity. Emerald Wind comes across. Ufa is the first to fall, and then goes Zaya. Right now, it's looking to get Team Freedom diving the back line, ignoring the fault, looking for the kills, and wanting to get curse point.
But it's a 2 for 2, and actually that's a Viking picking up that tribute. Murden there is going to be able to stall. Man, words are hard. John now looking to find his way in. Zogrug does have the dwarf toss. Robodoba should have a hook. Wait for the dwarf, then see the hook. Curse point is going to, or curse is now online. And if we see multiple keeps fall, Nomia very much could win this game.
Wow. I'm just going to say, you got Giants bribed before by the TLV pushing in the bot lane. They've got the curse active, right? that is potentially split push pressure. I'd just love to see them go top lane and try and finish what they started earlier.
Yeah, it is very much. Now, they're going to get that window because that failure to, you know, they bit off more they can chew for Freedom, diving past that fort, and the punishment here for Nomia. Now the Giants are going to be picked up. Again, they need to get, and one keep is not enough. And the fact that they are unable to do that so far with this time that they have had is a bit scary. There's been no damage gone into the top curse. You see them, or keep, they transition over, and now second guessing that rotation.
Wow.
We are almost done with our curse, and almost no structures obtained here for Nomia.
It's a rough situation right now. I mean, they have level 16 on the horizon. Kills are even. Structural advantage definitely in Nomia's favor. They have been looking to split push all game long, but with 16 intact, it seems to be the call is, let's get this boss, and we're going to throw every resource we have, and we want to win this game based on that.
Boss control significantly in favor of Nomia, just across the board, with the Expulsion Zone, having the Emerald Wind. I mean, Vikings now are at the point where they have come online to be a relevant team fighter there, thanks to Olaf now suddenly leveling himself up to be a tough guy. What does Nomia do? Team Freedom has responded within reasonable time to pick up the boss. Do they all in towards this keep? Question if they can maybe even end the game if they find themselves a very convenient hook.
Yeah, I think it is the play. Knowing how they like to play, they love to play skirmishes, they love to scrap and punch on, and we've seen it all day long. It's been leading up to this one chance. Let's finish what you started, let's commit, let's find that one pick. I think if they get one pick, that is the potential call.
It is. It may be enough. I'm not going to say that I think that one pick is going to be all that is necessary, but Nasmus with the clone, he's going to start off this fight. Boss is now looking to join in. Root doesn't land into anybody yet. Clone now seems to be going down. Expulsion Zone is used. There's the hook and the gorge.
Dansky's being picked off here. Emerald Wind to follow that thing up, and he is in Africa right now, separated from the team, separated from the chance to keep Team Freedom in this battle, as that keep is about to drop, and that boss is still healthy. He's at 50% health. He does not need to see a doctor.
And now they're looking to move on to the core. Play again is going to be dropped. Cure goes in. Divine Shield's going to be used, and he is still very healthy. Now getting that pressure onto John. The core shield is still standing as Nomia is trying to be able to end this game and keep their tournament alive. 70% and counting.
Oh, this core is about to drop. Sometimes you verse NA, and sometimes you verse ANZ, and they play wacky meta. Maybe they are the new mad scientists.
Maybe they are, but either way, Nomia still showing signs of life here at the Western Clash. Very impressive performance for them. And actually the first series of the day that we see is going to be going to game number 3. You know, I doubt it.